Hi everybody, I'm Terry Stiles. Welcome to Oxford News This Week. And with me is Jim Hughes again.
And with me is Terry, or I'm with you. That's how it works, right?
With us.
On this edition of Oxford News This Week, DDA brings Twinkle to Centennial Park. Part of Oxford Pass this past week, and superstar in the making on this edition of Oxford News This Week.
All that and more. The Oxford News begins right now. A more than $6,000 project lit up Centennial Park last week. At its June meeting, the Downtown Development Board approved hiring Excel Cleaning Brothers to install nearly 500 feet of commercial patio lights across the park. The project included another 100 feet of lights in the alleyway between the Covered Wagon Saddlery and Caveman and Pip across from the park. Set on a timer, the lights go on every night, year-round, for 2 years with Excel. Tim?
In a related story, Beyond the Bridge is what they're going to call this one. The DDA is looking into a larger project, stringing LED lights in line along with the rooftops of downtown buildings on either side of Washington Street. According to the DDA director, Kelly Westbrook, she is hoping to get a skyline effect going. The 2-year estimate cost from Excel would be $15,000 and would depend on the approval of each individual business owner. Terry?
The Oxford Community School District will receive nearly $400 extra per student in the 2021-2022 budget year in state funding this year, thanks to a $4 million foundation allowance signed into law last week by Governor Whitmer. In June, the district passed the 2021-2022 budget with an estimate of only $200 per student. So the district will receive nearly $400 more per pupil than budgeted. Those extra funds will go directly into the general fund balance.
Heavy hearts last week. Oxford Village's first female council member, Jackie Wassel, passed away. She was 83 years old. According to family members, Ms. Wassel recently moved to Florida, Port St. Lucie, Florida. She died in her sleep. Ms. Wassel served on the council from 1979 to 1986. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Wassel family and their loss. Terry?
Well, the Dominican Sisters property, which housed the Dominican Sisters of Oxford for many years, now belongs to the Oxford Community School District. Recently closing the $2.5 million deal, the district wasted no time starting improvements to the 32-acre campus. The $86,000 worth of improvements were recently approved by the school board. Superintendent Tim Throne said that with 43 rooms at the Mother House and 21,000 square feet at the Retreat House, the property was appealing due to its central location and the potential for expansion to the school system. Jim?
Thanks, Terry. New TV series in Oxford, Tale of Tales, actually going to be filmed around Oxford Lake Orion. Recommended for anybody over 18, and yes, you should probably be over 18 and no kids in the room. It is a bit dicey and racy. Features locations in Oxford, Lake Orion, and various Metro Detroit locations. But it also features a gumshoe played by Oxford Wildcat alum Brett Stanfield, a 1999 Oxford graduate. The show is actually about a gentleman's club named Tales and a dancer who goes missing. Stanfield plays the hard-boiled detective looking for the girl. Not that this is his first stab in front of the camera. Stanfield also made appearances in Transformers and The Last Night and Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, where portions were actually filmed in the Caning Sand and Gravel Pit. In addition, scenes were also filmed in Oxford's Ridgelawn Memorial Cemetery. This series does show promise, featuring numerous awards from independent international film festivals. To get that locally, you have to you can download TubiTelevision.com, and it's on there, the TV series.
Yeah, that's exciting. We did look at portions of it, and
oh yeah,
I would definitely recommend no kids in the room or anywhere near the room that you're watching it. But it's really interesting looking. You know, the way it looks, and the acting is pretty impressive.
Right, and again, we say this, we put this out there, and I mean, I watched it and I got a hold of you after. I'm like, I don't know, but then again, you know, it's filmed so good. You have a 1999 Oxford graduate, and they're using locations. I mean, that hasn't happened for a long time back when the film initiative was here in Michigan, and maybe someday that'll come back. Who knows, right?
I do want to mention Wasil, that passed away. She was the first female president, village president, which is pretty darn cool. And having walked in her shoes, I want to thank her and the family for leading the way. So that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, you can check out the Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page, the Oxford Leader newspaper, Oxford Community Television, YouTube and Facebook, or our website at occtv.org. I'm Terry Stiles.
I'm Jim Hughes, and thank you for watching Oxford News this week, where we actually bring your news closer to home. We want to say thank you again to our producer today in the back, Alex. She's back, and everything seems to be running.
She's back. We're all back. Yay.
Yeah, it's all back.
Back
The gang is back together. Have a great week, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you again on Oxford News this week. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. General Motors plans to recall certain Chevrolet Bolts for the second time in less than a year to replace defective battery modules after customers who completed a previous recall remedy continued to report battery fires. GM did not say when the replacements would start. We're working with our supplier and manufacturing teams to determine how best to expedite battery capacity for module replacement under this recall, spokesman Dan Flores told Automotive News. Teams are working around the clock to find ways to increase battery availability. As GM targets an all-electric portfolio by 2035, the automaker has touted its early EV entry, the Bolt, which launched in 2016. The automaker more than doubled U.S. Bolt sales in the first half of this year and expanded into new markets. GM and supplier LG Chem identified two rare manufacturing defects in the same battery cell, which has led to the fires, GM said in an email statement. GM believes that these defects are related to production of the cells by LG in South Korea, said Flores. The defect could result in a heat source or a short in a cell, which could cause a fire. Bolts built for the 2017 and 2018 model years use the LG Chem batteries made in South Korea. For the 2019 model year, some Bolts were built with the Korean batteries, while others used the LG Chem batteries made in Holland, Michigan. GM said Bolts built with the Michigan batteries were not affected. The automaker in April developed a solution for the initial battery defect 6 months after NHTSA launched an investigation into certain Bolts catching fire. A month after NHTSA began investigating, GM recalled over 68,600 Bolts from the 2017 to 2019 model years. GM developed a diagnostic tool to identify potential battery anomalies and replace battery module assemblies as necessary. Dealers also installed advanced onboard diagnostic software that can detect potential issues related to changes in battery module performance before problems occur. Even after GM's fix, at least 2 Bolt drivers reported fires. In one case, a 2019 Bolt owned by Vermont Representative Timothy Briglin, a supporter of EVs in the state legislature, caught fire while charging in his driveway. Until replacement battery parts are ready, GM is advising customers to return their vehicle to the 90% state of charge limitation using Hilltop Reserve mode in the 2017 and 2018 model years, or target charge level 2019 model year. GM also asks customers to charge their vehicle after each use and avoid depleting their battery below 70 miles of remaining range. The automaker suggests that customers continue to park their vehicles outside immediately after charging and avoid overnight charging. GM also recommends that customers who have not received the advanced diagnostic software, GM's initial battery remedy, visit their dealership for the update. GM said the 2020 Bolts are not effective because they were built with a different battery chemistry that increased range. All Bolts are powered by GM's previous generation battery architecture, not the proprietary Chevrolet Ultium battery that will power its future EV lineup, which includes the GMC Hummer pickup and SUV, Cadillac Lyriq, and Chevrolet Silverado EV. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back.
One of our biggest problems today is that we are afraid to have others challenge our mindset, and therefore we avoid topics that could lead to challenging conversations. At a young age, we're told not to talk about anything that is remotely divisive. But without having challenging conversations, how do you know that what you're saying is your truth and not just something you were raised to believe? Having conversations is how we learn. It's important to be able to see the other sides of things in order to form an opinion and choose what's best for you. Let's say you were raised to shower with all your clothes on. You can go through life thinking that is the best way to get clean, and if you never meet anyone brave enough to talk about hygiene, then you will never know that there is a better way. There's no reason to be afraid of differences. Limiting yourself to certain topics can render yourself unable to talk to friends, co-workers, or even family. To avoid challenging conversations is the same as to keep your mind trapped in a little box. Open your box. It's an American thing. AmericanThing.org.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Virtual roller coasters set off altered brain cell activity related to dizziness and motion sickness in people who experience migraines even if they aren't currently having a migraine, a finding that could lead to a better understanding of migraines and the development of new treatments. Anyone can feel sick and dizzy when they take a ride on a roller coaster, but people who experience migraine headaches often feel sicker and dizzier on the thrill ride. And the more people feel motion sickness and a general sense of incapacitation from their migraines, the more their brain activity differs from normal during a roller coaster simulation, says Gabriela Carvalho at the University of Lübeck in Germany. Our findings show that the brain areas related to processing of migraine pain overlap with brain systems that regulate motion sickness and dizziness, she says. People with migraines don't just have headaches. They often experience other conditions like motion sickness and dizziness, which can really affect their quality of life. So this study really gives us a better idea about what's going on in their brains. Carvalho and her colleagues carried out functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, on the brains of 40 people, half of whom regularly experience migraine headaches, as they watched realistic animated videos of roller coaster rides on a screen inside the MRI scanner continuously for 35 minutes. The video gave the point of view of a person sitting on the ride and included sounds of the car running on the tracks. Participants in both groups were 30 years old on average, and 80% of both group members were female. None of the participants experienced migraines during the virtual rides, but 65% of those in the migraine group reported on a questionnaire that they felt dizzy during the simulation, while just 30% of those in the control group did. Those in the migraine group also rated their level of motion sickness as twice as high as those in the control group, and the information they provided on the questionnaire showed their dizziness and motion sickness symptoms during the rides lasted on average 3 times longer than those in the control group. The fMRI images supported those reports, says Carvalho. In those who experience regular migraines, the researchers saw heightened activity in areas of the brain responsible for vision, pain perception, sensory motor processing, balance, and dizziness. They also detected more neural communication between these brain areas and other brain regions. Meanwhile, these people had less activity in brain regions that deal with cognitive functions, including attention. And the more debilitating these study participants' migraines usually are, and the more motion sickness they usually feel, the more changes the scientists notice in brain activity during the virtual ride. If the results can be confirmed in a larger number of people, they might offer new insights into why some people experience migraines. People who do and do not have migraine process information about motion and gravity differently, and these findings reflect that. This might help efforts to develop new treatments, she adds. And good luck with that. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
If you had something that you were given, something you loved, something that others wanted so badly but were denied it, something that you used and relied on every single day. If you had something special, something beautiful, something powerful, if you had something absolutely essential to securing your health, happiness, and safety, if you treasured something so much that you were willing to die for that something, if you knew that others already had, and if someone had given you a document that protected that something, wouldn't you take the time to read it?
There's a hidden problem going on right now in our community. This past year has created tremendous financial stress on families. Many are having to make sacrifices they've never had to face before. Some are even going hungry. But there's also something amazing going on behind the scenes. Samaritan House, the Manna Food Pantry, Capax Kitchen, the Oxford Orion Fish Food Pantry, just to name a few. All of these organizations are powered by an army of volunteers, people who give of their time and their money and other resources so that their neighbors, our area families, don't go hungry. And Four County Community Foundation has been there, behind the scenes, granting these organizations money for equipment and supplies to make this happen for many years. But we realize there's more need than ever before. So today, we're announcing a new fund, Feeding Families Forever. This fund is designed to create an everlasting endowment so that organizations in our community have the resources they need to keep doing their incredible work. One hungry mouth, one meal at a time. Now we're asking for your help. If you're ready to step up and help support us and see that no one ever goes hungry in our area, just follow the link provided and let's feed families forever.
For food security.
For our community,
Four County.
Four County Community Foundation. For us, for our community, Four County.